Welcome in. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Hump Day edition here on OTH. We come to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. And got a special guest, a very special guest. At 1:15, we're going to have on 2019 four-star cornerback signee Devin Bush of Edna Karr High School. Devin has decided that he's going to be an early enrollee here at the University of Arkansas and go through spring ball, which I think is going to be very, very good. We're going to catch up with Devin and see what his reasons were as to why he changed his mind and wanted to be a early enrollee here at the University of Arkansas. I'm really excited to have Devin on, but I want to bring on I think my buddy's out. He's taking care of some things. Demetrius Johnson. He wants to say hi to everyone. I know it's few words Wednesday for Demetrius, but also too want to make a note. Arkansas drops yet another one, third SEC conference game for this young basketball team. 106-87 to the hands of the third-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. We'll have much audio coming up in our next segment of Rick Barnes post Arkansas. He's going to talk about, the second half, things that he felt they could have done a lot better, and really compliments this young basketball team at the University of Arkansas. And then following that up, we'll have a live call-in. If you want to talk to us about any topic, the Arkansas basketball season to this point. Ben Hicks decided to be a Razorback. How does that benefit Chad Morris in the 2019 year? And is it a good thing for KJ Jefferson, in your opinion, going forward? You can chime in. We want to hear from you. Today will be your show, but we're definitely going to step away and get us a real quick break. And when we come back, Devin Bush of Edna Karr High School out of New Orleans. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
How pleased were you with that second half?
Not very. Again, I think that any time you play the way we did in the second half, you've got to give Arkansas credit, because I told the guys at halftime, I said, they're not going to stop playing. I said, I've known Mike Anderson too long, and I've watched him coach. His guys are going to come out, and they're going to keep pushing the ball. They're going to drive the ball. They did that in the very first play of the game. And we didn't, defensively, they got whatever they wanted. I think they shoot the second half, 50-some%.
57.
And we just, but again, you've got to give them credit for it. They came out and won the second half.
Now that you've got that out of the way, can you talk about the first half and getting 55 points from this SEC second leading scorer on the bench pretty much the whole way?
Well, again, with Admiral, I trust him, but again, it goes back to this time of year with a team like Arkansas, knowing that they've got the ability to come back and score like they showed in the second half. That's why we didn't put him back in the game, and the fact of the matter is we've proven in some tough situations we can play without Lamonte. But again, I thought it'd be a great experience for Lamonte to see, and I said, you got to see if you can play with two fouls right now, because we wanted to try to keep Jordan Bone and Jordan Bowden fresh, but we wanted to go inside. We wanted to do that, and we defensively we were, I thought, locked in for the most part in the first half, and then I thought when we got to our bench a little bit we weren't, and then I thought we give up too many offensive rebounds, where a couple of times guys just stood and watched, and at the end of the game, they were just more aggressive and wanted to get it. But the first half, there were some good things, obviously. There really was. But, again, I did something tonight I normally don't do. I walked right off the court, walked right into the locker room and told them I didn't think that as a team we were totally locked in. I thought we went to the bench. Some guys did come in and do what we expected them to do and be stars in those roles, and we didn't do it. And the second half, again, I give Arkansas all the credit, because they came out and they continued to fight and go score, and we didn't have an answer for it. Try to play some zone in the latter part of the game to see if we could slow down their penetration, and we did an absolutely horrible job trying to get in it. Never got it set but one time, and had a great possession where, when they get it down low, there's got to be three guys wanting to block a shot, like we got one of those possessions, but then we stood and watched the guy that had made couple 6 threes, just raise up and shoot another one.
Coach, we've seen in
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here live on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. And we have a very special guest. I call him a savage in the backfield, D-back. Devin Bush from Edna Karr High School out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Dev, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you've decided, Devin, I know it in the initial early signing period, you were just going to come in May. What went into you in this decision to enroll? I believe you'll be here Friday and go through spring ball here at the University of Arkansas.
Well, after I sat down with my parents and my coach, we talked about it, and we just decided that I think it would be best for me to enroll early, get started on my classes early so I could be ahead of, my schedule, and then get in the weight room, get on the field, get in the classrooms and the football facility, and, just start getting down on the football stuff also.
When you look at your game, you're a very physical cornerback, David. How do you think that's, once you do get in, go through classes, the weight program, being a freshman, because when you think about it, you should be going through graduation and prom. How much of an advantage do you think that's going to be when fall camp rolls around and heading into the 2019 season?
Well, I think it's going to be a super advantage for me. Just getting there early, learning the coverages, getting my head in a playbook. It's going to be way easier for me when the fall camp and the season start rolling around. So hopefully I'll get on the field, do my thing like I always do, and then we'll just handle that from there.
Talk about Edna Karr High School, Devin. What is it about Edna Karr and just the city of New Orleans, that you're going to bring to Fayetteville with you and hold in high regard?
It's really just a winning culture. It's your will. It's your want to. You want to always do better. So, if you bring that energy somewhere, it's a contagious energy. So hopefully the rest of the team will catch on to it if they don't already have it. And, we'll just roll from there into the season. That Edna Karr, we always preach, hold each other accountable, and be the best person that you could be every day.
Talk about your high school coach. How important has he been to you, not only, Devin, your senior year, but your entire career, both academically and athletically at Edna Karr?
He's been, super helpful. I don't think I could have done it without him. He stayed in my ear telling me to push when things got hard. And even when things was very easy and I got relaxed, he always created situations for me where I had to think for myself. I had to act for myself and make grown-up decisions because I knew that I'll be in this position leaving for college early. So, he just wanted to make sure that I was ready for life when it comes.
Now, you were a very highly recruited young man out of the city of New Orleans, state of Louisiana. Devin, what was it about Arkansas that made you so comfortable? I mean, this a program that hadn't, won a lot of games here over the last few years. What was that, initial it factor that pushed Arkansas over to make you want to be a part of the Razorbacks in this new program under Chad Morris?
Well, it was just that energy, I felt when I came on my official. The coaching staff kind of reminds me of the coaching staff that I have at Karr. They're just not making sure that you're prepared for football. They're making sure that you're prepared for life. When I'm talking to all the coaches, they always ask me how I'm doing, not only about football, but what I'm doing during my day. How is life going, how my family going. So a lot of coaches that I talked to, they didn't really do that. So that was a real big eye-opener for me. And it really pushed Arkansas over the edge.
When you look at Arkansas, you have a close friend, I believe Scooter Harris, as a young man out of the New Orleans area that quite a few of the young ballers in the area look up to. Talk about that relationship and how forward and how excited you are to play in, your freshman year with Scooter.
Man, Scooter, he's a real close friend of mine. I'm super excited to play with him for his senior year in high school. When I watched him play all over the city every game, he was the man of the game every game. So, it would be a big honor for me to play with him for his senior year and just do him proud.
Now, you had a chance to go to a lot of different programs, Devin, and like I said, Arkansas was that program. A lot of people were shocked when you decided to sign with the Razorbacks. This new class of you guys have the new Arkansas mantra. There's going to be added pressure on this class of 19 individuals. How do you guys handle that? And you in particular, does this motivate you even more to come in and be that class that starts Arkansas, on the national level?
Of course, people that doubt it just turn it into motivation, and the feeling inside you that's gonna burn in the game time. So I think this class is gonna come in and do great things. I believe in the guys that we have in this class. I've built a relationship with them, so I just believe keep a tunnel vision and a straight head. I think we'll be all right.
What can the fan base expect? What type of football player? I think in talking, you may wear a different number, not 7, but maybe 23. If that's the case, what would the Razorback fan base be able to see in Devin Bush, the football player, on Saturdays in the SEC?
They're going to see a kid with a lot of energy on the field. You know, I'm always be running around. I might be dancing a little bit on the sideline. But that's just the kid that I am when it comes to games. I'm just very open, you know, very excited. You know, I'll just stay loose. And then the game time, you know, I handle my business. I'll catch my picks, make my tackles, you know, just do whatever I could to make the team better.
Talking with Devin Bush, Arkansas 2019 4-star cornerback signee out of Edna Karr High School. Last question, Devin, or actually I have 2 questions. You know, who do you emulate and like to watch at the cornerback spot, either at the collegiate or NFL levels, and add to your game?
Well, in the NFL, you know, I always watch Patrick Peterson. I never stopped watching him. I always watched him since, you know, just growing up, since he's been at LSU. And that's just with the cornerback position. Sometimes I watch sleeper positions. I love to watch Jamal Adams because of his physicality. I feel like he's the most physical safety in the NFL.
Well, I know you have some special teams in your history there at Edna Karr. Did Arkansas by chance talk to you about possibly being a kick return or punt return, or is that something that, you know, your guys will work out once you get to Fayetteville?
I think we'll work it out once I get on campus. I'm definitely going to ask them about it.
Well, now, last question that I have to ask you, and I want you to finish this statement. I know you plan on playing in the NFL, but when football is done for Devin Bush, he'll be doing what with his life afterwards?
I'll be starting my own company. I would start my own finance company, you know, keeping people financially stable.
Well, Devin, hey, thanks for taking time out. Have a safe trip up, and I'm telling you, my man, I'm looking forward to you being a Savage and also covering you during your time here in Fayetteville. But as always, thanks for taking time out on the hill.
Thank you.
Now, hey, and just know, Devin, you and I, we got to work on a nickname while you're here in Fayetteville.
Well, yeah, I know. We gonna think on that real soon.
All right. Well, you have a blessed one, and I'll see you this weekend.
All right. Thank you.
That was Devin Bush, 4-star, big-time cornerback out of New Orleans, Louisiana, Edna Karr High School. Edna Karr, and I'm sitting here, and I'm watching my producer, and, you know, as I'm talking to Devin, he made this face. And I want to get a clarification on that, Demetrius. What was so exciting that you had to get I'm going to have to come up, the gas face, we'll say that. How'd he do it? Right. Oh, yeah, you're a big Fouché guy. Yeah. Right. When you look at this, and when you go through this interview with Devin, this class we've had on Ricky Stromborg, a multitude of guys, it's a very mature 2019 group. These guys seem to be very goal-driven, but they speak of family. You know, Devin was talking about we. It wasn't he. It was we as a class, and Ricky talked about the same thing, we. So that lets me know, and then you get on social media and you see the group message that they all keep amongst themselves, a lot of support. I don't know of one in that class that signed that's not in the group message. But we caught up with Coach Mike Anderson. You know, momentarily we'll have his audio, and Mike's going to talk about last night's disappointing game. But still, yet, when you look at this, Arkansas ended up winning that fourth quarter. Isaiah Joe, I believe, went 7 out of 11 from the three-point line. Arkansas was not called for a lot of fouls. I guess they were 17 fouls called on the University of Arkansas. But Tennessee, 35 out of 39 from the free throw line. Tremendous. This is a basketball team that, when you look at the score, 106-87. Arkansas might not have got it done, but they got beat by a really good basketball team. This Tennessee Volunteers team last year, think about this, was picked 13th in the SEC to enter the conference. All they did was, I believe, tied for the conference championship, went on to the SEC tournament championship, and had a chance to go deep in the tournament. I think they're they were an Elite 8 team. This team is really, really good, and I have pegged them to be the champion. I don't know if they lose one or two, not many, but we caught up with Coach Anderson, and here's what Coach had to say post Tennessee.
Mike, in the 5 games before this, I think you guys have lost by 19 points combined. What makes this Tennessee team different? You know, such the dominant.
I think with a young basketball team coming in this environment, I thought, our guys played on their heels, and you saw when they start playing, basketball, I thought they played a little bit better. But Tennessee is a good team. They're playing well. They shot the ball well. They rebounded the ball well. We turned the ball over too many times. We had a lot of close shots that were hitting at the basket we didn't make. So I just thought this experience versus inexperience in this particular game. And you go game by game, and our guys have been pretty good thus far. And but as I told them, the test keeps getting bigger and bigger each and every time you go out and play. But they got some dynamite player. Schofield, he didn't play in the first half. I thought we did a pretty good job on Grant Williams, but he shot 14 for 14 from the free throw line. So I don't know if they shoot like that all the time, but if they do that, they're going to win a lot of ball games.
Hey, Mike, over here, it's Tom. It was 6-5, and then they went on a 14-0 run. What do you think? They were really the aggressor at that point. What do you think was going on at that stretch?
We turned the ball over. I think turnover. I mean, look at the turnovers from scoring. They scored 35 points of our turnovers. And we're a team that normally turns over people. And so I think that was the difference in the game. And I thought it kind of spooked some of our young guys. And I thought they played tentative.
Mike, I'm sure Gafford's used to kind of getting a lot of pressure put on him and teams packing it in. Did Tennessee do anything specifically to him tonight, or just
he got fouled? They didn't call him. They got knocked around. So it's being physical one thing, but I thought they got pushed around pretty good. So they did a job of putting bodies on them. And then, of course, that's going to hopefully allow other guys. I thought he made some nice passes to guys that didn't finish.
Anything else for Coach?
Coach, a lot of people think Tennessee's a contender, national contender. What do you think of this team and the way they're playing?
I think they're playing really well right now. Right now, to me, if I'm voting, I'm thinking they're the number one team in the country. I just think based on what I know about them, the personnel, and obviously Rick has brought them on the right way. I think they're humble. I think they're hungry. I think they play for each other. Their bench right now is playing well, and I think that's a big key. When your bench is playing like that, and you don't even play with Schofield, yet you're able to score and rebound and continue to play at a high level. They got a lot of pieces that are playing well together. I got pieces, but they got pieces that are playing well together. So again, it gets back to that. Been down that road before, the experience factor.
You mentioned playing with them in the second half. What did you guys do in the second half? And it looks like after Isaiah's slow start, he kind of found the zone.
I thought our guys I thought they played on the heels early on. I thought in the second half we just came out and we fought. I thought we did. We found the resilience. But it's hard when you start off and they're in a 1-on-1 with 17 minutes to go. But our guys fought. I thought they fought. That's what they did. They fought, and then they start playing together. Sometimes adversity can make you splinter up, and you try to make these great home run plays or 10-point play. But I thought we came back down, and we were in attack mode, but we played with some smarts. I just played a little bit more like we were capable of playing.
Welcome back to our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day here on KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And I want to give a big quick shout out to our sponsors, as it would not be possible without Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, also in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel. It's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville, and Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to you all for being gracious sponsors of us here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk. And during the break, we caught up and let you hear post-game audio from head basketball coach Mike Anderson following Arkansas's 106-87 loss to the hands of the number 3 ranked Tennessee Vols in Thompson-Boling Arena last night. It was to be expected. You heard in the interview Coach Anderson, and I agree. I feel like this is not, if not the best team, one of the top 2 teams. I know that Duke number 1, which that should change with them losing this past Monday at home to Syracuse. I think Duke, Michigan, Tennessee, Virginia, Gonzaga, there are some teams in there, that 1 through 6 could win the national championship. And Tennessee, when I say that, is a legitimate national championship Final Four ball club. So Arkansas did win the second half. Yeah, I think they outscored Tennessee 51-40-something. I know it was 55-34 at halftime. Final score was 106-87. So however many that point difference was in the second half. Isaiah Joe, which has been in the shooting slump, when you go 7 of 11, you have to feel good about that. Mason Jones, 18 points, continues to be a consistent. Daniel Gafford had 10 points. I think 7 or 8 rebounds. But I also, too, agree with Coach Anderson. Daniel, to me, Demetrius, I know that Daniel falls down a lot. Daniel's getting double and triple team, but there's some fouling going on the offensive end when Daniel's trying to post up that's not getting called. I think the officials have got to show more respect for this young man going forward, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I will say he's one of those players that they do kind of they don't give him really good attention, like you say, respect. But I also want Daniel to take I want him to take this as a learning tool,
right?
And a way to better himself, getting prepared for the NBA, because we keep hollering about how he's a lottery pick. I want him to get to where those little knick-knack fouls don't stop him from finishing.
Good point.
And those are the key attributes to having longevity in the NBA.
Real good point.
So I think I would use it as a learning tool and tell him to fight for it and to become a more physical player.
For those of you that want to chime in to our conversation, what about it? Is it fairly been officiated for Daniel Gafford, or does it have to be a little bit more physicality on the Arkansas lottery pick, big time sophomore center's end of this discussion? You can do so and chime in with us here at 479-601-7400. We'll get you in for all topics. But we had a viewer as we take also topics through our Facebook page. And Demetrius, I'm gonna turn it over to my producer and let Demetrius. We're gonna talk about who the topic and who it was, and we'll give you our take. So on to my producer, Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my mic. I don't know if that's really clear on the live. We had a comment from Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy says losing experienced players after going 2-10 does not bode well for the next season. How do you feel about that?
I think it boils down to your seniors. If your seniors have great leadership and want to change can occur. Now, will it change from 2-10 to 9-3, 10-2? Who knows? But I think your teams are determined in the offseason. You can't tell me that it can't happen, because Baylor Bears went 1-11. The following year, they went 7-6. It's all about your senior leadership. I think Deborah Whaley. I think Scooter Harris. I think guys like Sosa Agim. I think Cheyenne O'Grady. These will be the seniors that you're going to have to lean on. That's going to be, your vocal guys. And I think it's, like I said, it's all about seniors lead and everyone else follows. So we'll have to, this season is not yet determined. It's all going to take place they started Monday in the first quarter. You have second quarter, third quarter. You win and lose games, I believe, firmly in the football season, in the off season, those 6 months before, you get back into combat. What do you think, D?
I had to disagree with Mr. Roy. I think sometimes subtraction can be addition.
Right.
Because sometimes there's certain players and personalities that you want to get rid of.
Correct.
I think there was a lot of players that needed to leave.
Right.
I don't want to call any names out, and I think there were starters that were kind of given their position just due to
the lack of competition.
A lack of competition, and I think an insufficient amount of data. Because now that I look back on last year and kind of see how Chad ran the team, I can clearly see he had no idea of the personnel on the squad.
Right.
I can kind of see he didn't really go and watch a lot of film on what we could and couldn't do.
Right.
Because the same mistakes that we made this year, we were making last year with Brett Bielema. But on the flip side of that, I think he's adding pieces necessary to fit the type of scheme that he wants. And I think that's more important than having bodies. What's the point of bodies if they don't progressively impact what you're trying to do? I'd rather get rid of bodies and have the guys that really want to be here, that really add to what I'm trying to do and can really impact my football program.
I mean, like, the young man we had on here in the previous segment, Devin Bush, he says he's a guy that likes to get his teammates involved. You see him, with a lot of excitement on the sidelines. I think energy is the big key for next year's team. How much energy will this football team bring each and every weekend? You can always tell through practice. Coach Chad Morris has a high energy level, and his staff, they all have high energy levels. And I just feel like, with Ben Hicks, a seasoned quarterback that's been in that offense the previous 2 years before Coach Morris came to Arkansas, I feel like that's going to be a big plus. The addition of a few wide receivers of size, skill, and were recruited first and foremost to this system by Coach Morris, by Coach Stepp and that offensive staff. I think that's going to be a plus. I think the offensive line will be a lot better. And I just think, in year 2 of the system, you have those guys, Devois. You may have a Rakeem Boyd. You may have Buster Brown. They all have gone through the weightlifting and the expectation level. And I think coming back, Coach Morris and staff are going to put more expectations on these young men. So I anticipate it will be a better football team. Now, to the wins and losses, I think that's still up for grabs. But I think this team will be more competitive because I think when you have a leader, Demetrius, like Scooter Harris, he's going to demand accountability because, when you get to be a senior, it's your last go around, but I do think the senior leadership on this team will be tremendously, tremendously better than it has been in several years.
I agree. The one position that I really have that's been a question mark all off season is the quarterback position.
Right.
We've recently had transfer Ben Hicks come in, and we have Connor Nolan still on staff. We have KJ coming in. What do you see happening?
Dalton Hyatt is still around.
And Dalton Hyatt. I don't want to forget him. But what do you see kind of shaping out with this quarterback situation?
In a perfect situation, I think Ben Hicks comes in and is going to be the starting quarterback. I think Connor Nolan, in a perfect world, would be number 2. And I think it would be between he and KJ in a perfect world. You would love to redshirt KJ Hill for that one initial season because I think if KJ's able to understudy under Ben for 1 year, be able to go be on the traveling squad, be able to stand next to Coach and that offensive staff with those headphones on him and understand and watch the game. And as he's watching the game, making mental notes and then going back each and every week and going through the film study, going through the class work. And I think if Arkansas is able to do that, they're going to be a really good football team for years going forward because Ben Hicks, that was the biggest addition for this quarterback room that I think Coach Chad Morris and staff could have hoped for. That's the best situation. This is a guy that knows this offense and can sit down when maybe Coach Craddock, is not around and take these guys into that film room and show them on the board or show them through film all the intricacies of this offense because he knows them inside and out. He's had a lot of success. I think KJ, I think Connor, I think Dalton Hyatt will listen to this guy. He's a lot older. He's been in the fire. People say AAC is a bad thing, but when you can play football and the numbers that Ben Hicks put up, Demetrius, I don't care what level, you still have to throw and catch. You still have to make reads. Those guys are still Division I football players. Doesn't matter the conference. I'm not buying that. I think this is going to be a good marriage, for the University of Arkansas in year 2. And I think it's going to be something that they're going to be able to at least add 2 victories. I think Ben Hicks on the team will get this team 2 more wins. I'm seeing right now 6-7 wins. I think this team does go bowling. Maybe not to the degree of a great bowl, but I think they're going to extend their football season by one game in the 2019 year. That's just my humble opinion. What are you on that? Do they have enough talent and enough senior leadership and guys back to make a bowl run next year if they can just win, a game or two early to get themselves going?
I'm gonna have to say no, because I specifically think the SEC is more than just having talent. If that was the case, I think LSU would win year in, year out, because I can easily say LSU has by far the best physical talent. When you're talking about running, jumping, anything related to football, I think they have more superior athletes. But I think the missing factor is going to be experience. I think that goes a long way. I do see why you feel they can kind of make a run and maybe string 2 or 3 games together. But when I look at what's coming back to the SEC and the way some of these other SEC teams are kind of trending in an upward position, I think Arkansas has to play catch up, and they haven't quite caught up. I do agree with you that Ben Hicks probably will add 2 games to that, so I won't give them bowl. I won't make them bowl eligible this year. But what I will say is I think Chad Morris kind of follows that similar trend pattern that he had at SMU, where he went 2 games, 1 or 2 games his first year. The next year he ended up winning like 5. Then he won maybe 7 the last year. I don't have the exact numbers, but I can see Arkansas going with that similar trend. I mean, I really haven't broke down their schedule, but I think they're still going to struggle in conference, and I think that's where those bowl eligible games really come into play, winning those conference games.
I had a note in a text message from a listener that stated Arkansas has to recruit the in-state kids just as hard as they recruit out-of-state kids. My response to that is I think Chad Morris and staff, I think they've made that a priority to recruit the state of Arkansas. I'm 47 years old, and I can't remember the time that they've had more than 8 or 9 truly Division I, SEC-worthy recruits in this state. It's just the nature of the state. It's not very big. And I think, at the end of the day, just because you're an in-state kid, if Arkansas is not the school for you and your family, I don't feel like you should feel obligated. So much pressure is put on these kids in all 50 states that, hey, if you're in the state of Ohio, then by George, you go to Ohio State. If you're in Michigan, you go to Michigan, you go to Michigan State. If you're in Texas, you go to A&M, TCU, Baylor, Houston, Texas.
That's crazy to me. That's so crazy.
It's one of those things where you're expected to stay in state, and I think the state of Arkansas and this fan base has to realize that these kids have to be in the best situation for them, academically, athletically, socially, all things. And if it doesn't fit the system, Chad can't recruit a kid that's in a pro offense.
I want to know what for fans to feel so. Or they feel like the kid should be obligated. What does the state do for the kid? Because outside of them getting recruited to that university, I don't really see Arkansas doing or putting themselves as a state in position to excel. One thing that I always have posed about Arkansas is why aren't there more media outlets in high school football? I mean, they don't even have a recruiting personnel for just the state of Arkansas where they push these kids. So I don't understand. Sometimes it baffles me why fans feel these kids owe the state of Arkansas something when 9 times out of 10, before these kids are even recruited by Arkansas, nobody knows them.
Right. I think these kids, and this is just for me personally speaking, I want a young man and a young lady to be in the situation collegiately. Like I said, that's going to best help their personal growth. Not so much on the athletic side, and the academic side, but personal growth and being in a situation that you're comfortable in, that you can grow around all types of nationalities and, walks of life. And when you're able to do that, I think you can enhance yourself academically and athletically when you make that right decision. You don't want to make a decision 18, 19 years old and, well, I went to Arkansas because it was expected of me. And maybe TCU was the better school. Because and now you're gonna regret that, and I think kids nowadays get rushed into situations. That's why we're having this free agent market like we are in the NCAA so much. Kids are going to school based on pressure, based on immediate success from that program prior, maybe a year or two before they got there, and not looking so much at what's the best situation academically, athletically, but more so socially. And I think that's what kids need to focus on more than I'm going to Alabama because they're number 1. Well, maybe Ole Miss is a better school for you. as far as your growth, because at some point these kids have to realize, and these fans have to realize, the athletic part of that individual's life is going to come to an end. They're only on your campus 5 years, and you have to look beyond that for what's the best situation 5 years on down the road for me. Does this school have my major? You know, all those things come into play, but to sit here, I mean, I'm not going to agree. I think Chad Morris, when they got here, as I can recall, Demetrius, have 10 coaches recruiting the state of Arkansas. 10. Not 6, not 5, not 4, but 10. That means every coach on the Chad Morris staff is at somebody's high school and has an area to where they have multiple, 10 to 15 schools. So it's I'm not buying that. I want everybody. I think this is the most aggressive staff, in my opinion, that the University of Arkansas has ever assembled within their football program. They've had some good ones, but not to the degree where they eat, sleep, and drink recruiting, because they understand that's how you're going to win in the SEC. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes, not the X's and the O's, and that's what Arkansas is trying to get to. In my opinion, I think they do a great job recruiting the state, but just realistically, you're only going to have about 6 to, on a good year, 10 true SEC-worthy scholarship guys. And over the years, even during Brett Bielema, he was able to keep the best in state. I mean, don't you think, Demetrius?
Somewhat. There was some kind of diamond in the rough that we kind of missed out.
Right.
Because we can look at KJ Hill's situation in Ohio State. I think he did make the right decision in going to Ohio State. He has a national championship to show for that. But it's just one of those things where you can't get everybody. You can't get everybody, and you're going to miss on some. I think what you do is you go get the kids that believe in your system. It's not always about the physicality too, because you can. That to me is where development comes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these kids, there was a stat the NFL did about all the players that's in the league right now, and a lot of them were like 3 stars, 1 to 3 stars. It wasn't a whole lot of 5 stars, 4 to 5 stars. A majority of them were 3 stars. So to me, what's more important that you find guys that fit your system and your developmental program that we have, and that's something that I'm really eager to see going forward with Chad Morris, is how he develops players. What type of turnaround does he have putting players into the NFL? I think that's really key, because that shows that to me is a reflection of your recruiting. Is what's your turnaround to putting kids in the NFL? Not necessarily winning national championships, because that has a little bit to do with cohesion, recruiting. But your recruiting and your turnaround to putting kids in the NFL is a reflection of your developmental program. And I think Chad mentioned that this season. He said, I want to get to where I'm getting kids 3 years and they graduate early and putting into the NFL. So I think from a mentality standpoint, he's taking the right motive.
Say, guys, I told you he was good. I recruited somebody real good, to be my co-host, because that was some knowledge spit out I hadn't heard. I mean, that's big time. So, yeah, I hear y'all know. Oh, and see, this is, Little Words Wednesday from my producer. So this is a big moment that we're all going to have to. But that's going to wrap us up here today. We'll be back with more coverage of the SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Media availability, we'll be meeting with Coach Anderson and Coach Neighbors on Friday later in the week. We'll have updates for you on that. But that's going to wrap it up. First, give a big shout out and thank you to Devin Bush, Arkansas 2019 cornerback, 4-star signee out of New Orleans, Louisiana, Edna Clark High School. He's going to be enrolling Friday. And I think it's going to be a lot of good things as far as Devin Bush is concerned. I want to give a shout out and thank you to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, it's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive, and Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. That's going to wrap it up for our Wednesday edition. I want all you guys to be blessed. I want to give a thank you to my co-host, Demetrius Johnson, and that'll wrap us up. Until tomorrow, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one.